Justin House, episode 429. Welcome. It's going to start Instagram as well. And a very good evening to Instagram as well. So we're episode 429. I'm Justin House, and welcome to TrueHouse. The date today is it's question Wednesday the 20th of October. So tonight's going to be a continuation of a theme, thematically speaking. God, why, Justin? Why speak in such terms? But I'm going to continue with the subject of pain and how it's related to all of us. That most people don't go through life swerving it. If you can get through life pain-free, then more power to you. I mean, I really mean that with total sincerity and conviction. The heading the broad heading pain. As you can tell, this is a completely raw, unedited, unscripted show stream. But yeah, if we're painting in broad strokes, and that's a term I use a lot, but loosely speaking, when someone says, "Oh, I hurt," or "it hurts," or "I'm in pain," they could be literally referring to, well, I've stubbed my toe, or my marriage is over, or I've just buried my child. I know I've just given some radical spectrumy examples there, but there's pain as in, I watched both of my parents succumb to cancer, obviously claim their lives, and very painful for them, painful for me. And I had my own, I had a giant cell tumour in my lumbar spine. So without giving you a medical lesson, the 5 available vertebrae in the lumbar spine, I have had my I had to actually think for a moment, goodness me, my L2's gone out of the 5, sorry, L1, L2, yeah, has gone. I've got like this big metal cage, like scaffolding, in its place that runs from the last of my thoracic vertebrae. You've got 24, I said I wasn't going to do this, but just to briefly, so you can perhaps visualize, you've got 24 vertebrae in your spine, 7 cervical in your neck, 12 thoracic, middle of the back, and 5 lumbar. So 7, 12, 5, that's 24. And then you're going down to the cervix, the sacroiliac joints and the cervix above your bum. My L1, L2 whipped out, and also a big cage put in there, which runs from, to fortify the void between thoracic vertebrae and lumbar vertebrae, and to cause bone union. What my oncologist and orthopedic surgeons did was to remove 2 ribs, lateral ribs, one from each side, and they cut up and sprinkle the ribs, I kid you not, in the gap where the vertebrae used to exist. Obviously, the cancerous vertebrae were removed because the tumour, the massive pathological giant cell tumour, so the pathology of the tumour was aggressive enough that it physically burst forth from L2, and in doing so took out L1. So really, of the 5 lumbar vertebrae, a couple have gone and completely excised. It's called a vertebrectomy. So just taken out, literally taken out. Big cage in its place, and of course the sprinkling of donor ribs to cause bone union, and that was 10 years ago now. I'm moving on though, but so I've had that sort of pain. Very nearly lost my right leg in April 7 due to a nasty fight, I kid you not. And obviously, 4 years of dialysis, and I'm a kidney transplant recipient. My brother's kidney's in me. I've had 2 myocardial infarctions, 2 heart attacks, 3 lots of sepsis, 3 lots of pneumonia, 3 hernias, collapsed lung a couple of times. I've got pleurodesis, where they use talc and glue to fix your lung to your rib cage so it doesn't keep collapsing. Thrombocytopenia, hepatosplenomegaly, etc., etc., etc. Obviously diabetes, all this sort of stuff. So I got a good cornucopia of stuff there, a good smorgasbord, a full myriad, a full plethora, and lots of other silly descriptive words to describe my colourful medical history the last 14 years. But that equates to pain. The other sort of thing I want to discuss is obviously emotional pain. Excuse me. Bit of water might help, Justin. It's a vast topic, like I say, painting broad strokes. And again, I'm being the overarching topic of pain. It's that there's emotional pain. We've all, if you get through life free of it, you're doing very well. In my post tonight, I put "No one gets out alive." It's a great Doors quote, the Doors, the late great Jim Morrison. But it's true, no one gets out alive. I'd like to think that one of us would survive, or one of us would transcend death, perhaps. So I'm holding my bracelet because I'm going to put these on in a minute. But it just, to me, it's there's humour also in pain. I'm not being callous or cold, but I've also learned that, number one, it's a massive mistake to not laugh at yourself. I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't take the proverbial piss out of yourself, then you have problems. And funny enough, just before I went live tonight, I was watching Michael Malice. I'm a huge fan of Michael Malice, who's an author and a political commentator on Joe Rogan's podcast, which would have been done their time yesterday, but it's on Spotify right now. I think it's episode 1720 something. But Michael Malice is very outspoken. They're talking about so many things related to this that we've got as humans. We are meant to laugh at ourselves because on that point I made a minute ago about that you should be able to laugh at yourself, and dealing with pain, whether it's emotional pain or a marriage breakup. And again, I'm not going to sit here and profess to be a counsellor on emotional dealings with people break up and kids are involved and partners and love, and it's a real shit show. Frankly, it's really painful for a lot of people. But it's I haven't done those sort of things in life. I've had physical pain, which has resulted in a lot of mental pain, a lot of emotional damage, I suppose you could say. I suppose that sounds a bit much, doesn't it? I'm emotionally damaged, but I think I'm okay these days. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm completely squared away. I'm not I'm not a deluded guy. But sorry, that's not me. That sounds like I was farting. That little squeak. It's me holding the side of the table. But yeah, the toll it takes when you're dealing with injury, illness, life changing, life altering injuries. That's the thing I need to really try and eloquently convey is just when you're hurt, the dissension, the descent into a bad place, the place you're in mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, the place you're in isn't good. Especially if you're an active person, an athlete, a sports person, anyone, just even a person that likes to pop to the gym on a regular basis, and you're a bit of a weekend warrior, casual trainer. I'm not knocking it, because any form of exercise is good for anyone for any amount of time. But even if you're a casual trainer, if you're sidelined through serious injury and you're having to repair, recover, rehabilitate, this extended period of convalescence, it's extremely damaging for again, in my experience, for your mind, for your constitution. We're all fortified to varying degrees with, a sliding scale of stoicism. How you could say, oh, so and so is really tough. You'll pull through it. Come on. How many times have you heard this in your circle of friends or family? You might say, "Gosh, did you hear about Mike?" I'm just making up a random name. Yeah, but he's tough. He'll pull through. And then you bump into Mike. And you're like, yeah, dude, I heard you lost your leg. It's like, yeah, you'll pull through it. You'll get through it because you're tough. And we tell ourselves that, and we tell each other that, and we project that. It's like, yeah, you'll be all right. I've had people I know in my life, just my peers or fair weather friends or whatever, say, you'll be all right, Just, you'll be all right. I'm like, yeah, I hope so, man, because like I wasn't ready to hear on the MRI scanner that day in 2009, you've got a really aggressive cancerous tumour, and just lying in it. I'm telling you now, just in my personal estimation, my personal experience, lying for 90 minutes in the confines, and it is claustrophobic, of an MRI, magnetic resonance imagery. When you're in the MRI scanner, you got the headphones on because like it's really noisy, and you hear I always get this confused. Radiologist say, "Oh, be back in a minute." You think, shit. They get a second, a third opinion, and you do. It's a real brown trouser moment. You do, and then of course somebody medically has to say to you, "Yeah, you've got, that's a tumour." And when you hear the word tumour, you think the worst, and then they explain that it's not showing malignant behaviour in terms of immediate spread. So you're thinking, great, that's benign, that's benign. Benign's a good word, malignant bad, benign good, right? But then they say it's really aggressive and it's growing rapidly in that area. So it's benign in terms of its behaviour, but this is all pre-biopsy, by the way. Oh yeah, this is just at the MRI stage. Then of course the biopsy proved it was a really aggressive cancer. So they were like, "Look, get it out. Got to get it out." So Anyway, it was the odds they gave me. I'll never forget this at Oxford. They gave me appalling odds. It was something like, I'm going to say 7. I think it was 7. It was it was really stinky odds, guys. Something like 7 out of 10 don't, he used the word succumb. I'll never forget this. My surgeon used the word succumb. And then I said, "Oh, what about percentages? Can we, because numbers on their own aren't offensive, are they? Numbers are just numbers. That it's like me saying, 'Oh, look, bracelet, can that hurt you?'" So I remember saying to this guy, a very, very nice guy who ultimately did my surgery. His name was Jeremy Reynolds, and Jeremy Reynolds, they did. Now let me get my memory adjusted here. That's it. My surgery was just shy of 17 hours. It was 16 hours 40 or 16 hours 48, and it was 3 men. It was Jeremy Reynolds, the main surgeon, because we're talking oncology and obviously, neurology and neuroscience, oncology, obviously cancer, and orthopedics, because we're dealing with bones, aren't we? When orthopedic surgeons do hips and knees and spines and God knows what else. So yeah, it was a good what they call an MDT. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. I'm thinking DMT, but MDT, a multidiscipline team. They have these meetings to discuss my fate. So I'm mentioning all this stuff again. Typical, early into the live stream, I just waffle away. Again, I won't go too hard tonight. Probably half an hour. Nothing crazy. My mind, again, I need to stop saying, if I'm honest, just being honest. It's take it, I'm going to be honest. That's the idea of this live stream, is that I don't do anything dishonest. I don't speak in an untruthful way. But yeah, my head at the moment, it's ridiculous really. I'm occupied in my mind by this current narrative about. It's very American centric. It's very American based, and I can't help but notice it. I'm looking now just off screen at the iPad, and it's such an easy rabbit hole to track yourself down to YouTube and Twitch or I don't know, just no. Well, yeah, Twitch actually, because they do a lot of streaming, a lot of political debates. It's very easy for a mind like mine. I was texting a friend earlier, a dear friend of mine, a chap called Steve, and I was saying I find myself naturally leaning to these extended streaming services, or if you like Twitch, where you're just, it's like this, it's long form, and it's just guy on camera, and they're just having really good debates, and a lot of it is political. I wish we'd stop using the word political because it's just so much of it is I hear a conversation, I hear an exchange of ideas, an exchange of thoughts, opinions, and people speaking, a real to and fro, a dialogue. But hey, you've got to call it politics, right? Can't stand that. I'm gonna have got some coffee here. I'm just going to pour some cold water into my coffee. Why is it whenever I start streaming and start talking, my voice goes a bit funny? It gets a bit like that. It gets a bit hoarse. It's weird. So, what it is that's distracting me, and again, I'll the pain thing's very real. The pain thing's no joke. But the narrative going on, guys, this is why I wear 4 bracelets like that. The narrative is one of, God, it reminds me of the old Frankie Goes to Hollywood. 2 tribes. 2 tribes go to war. One is all that you can score. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. 2 tribes go. I used to love Frankie. Up to their first song, Relax. I saw them live. I was a huge, still am. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. The album's huge fan. Holly Johnson, Paul Rutherford. It's great, guys. Anyway, I didn't even know what a gay band was, but that iconic song, 2 tribes. 2 tribes go to war, and I mention that because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing 2 tribes. It's very, very tribal. We know we're tribal. We know we're tribal by our history. But the lengthy point I'm making is people like to, these warring factions, these two sides. People get very, very sidist. That's my party. That's you're a dirty conservative. You're an anti-vaxxer. It's just it's awful. It's bloody awful. It really, that's the wider conversation that I've been watching and listening to on Rogan with Michael Malice, and of course now just tonight YouTube, Russell Brand. I'm a big Russell Brand fan. Yeah, Russell Brand it's funny because Russell Brand traditionally, he's kind of like a big scalp. Russell Brand feels for my team, and I'm not into team thing. I'm really not actually. I just hate the fact that it exists at all. But Russell Brand, who's always been a bit of a lefty, is now doing actual journalism, actual investigative journalism for real, and is doing his streaming like this, albeit better than me because he's more professional, more polished, and he can tell he's got a script, and better studio, so he's got, that's Russell Brand. It's Russell Brand versus Justin Who. So I get that. I'm under no illusions, but to see Russell Brand literally say verbatim what I've been saying, what I am saying. Now that sounds the height of arrogance, real sort of just, hubristic moment for me there. God, I feel tired. But no, what it is, I'm a fanboy, and I'd like to see Russell Brand back on Rogan. He was on Rogan, God, a few years back with oh God, hilarious comedian. No, it's gone. It's gone. Jim Brewer. Sorry, there you go. Jim Brewer. Come in. Jim Brewer was a good comedian. He was on Joe Rogan, and Russell Brand was on at the same time. So it's good, like 3 of them talking. But traditionally, Russell Brand's always been a bit of a lefty, and to see him now align himself with the centre. Again, it's not about right, left. In fact, it's not about being right. When I don't just mean, the lateral side. Are you a righty or a lefty? I mean, the war seems to be who's right. There seems to be a ridiculous sort of, don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like discourse, actual words. I don't know, guys. Something's rotten in Denmark. I'm just going to put my favourite Bengals on one by one. Something is rotten in Denmark. I'm serious now. I'm not playing. I'm not just being, I'm not talking for effect. I'm not going to do the, like Alex Jones and just do a very poor impression. Alex Jones, in a world. But no, I've always saying right tonight. But yeah, I'm not just doing it to be hyperbolic and to, sort of have these big talking points and then deliver said talking points in a very Alex Jones, a very sort of like, oh, you never guess what, alien frogs, the typical one. But what we're seeing, guys, is, well, there you go. I hope it doesn't become too painful. So I've just got to put these on. I've got to shove my hand down here. He says, they're meant to be hard. They were. They were, Mrs. Come on, Justin. Well, that's one on. See, I put these bracelets on. They can't go on this side because this is my fistula here. This probably can't see it, can you? On, see a little bit there. Just it's hard to show. Yeah, like what biceps, Justin? But yeah, this is my fistula from the days of dialysis. It's a cephalic vein plugged into a radial artery. Sorry. You put a little diameter vein into a large diameter artery. Makes sense to increase blood flow. So look, let's go back, get on to pain again. Feeling pretty tired, so I'll do another 8 minutes, which will be half an hour, and that'll do. The pain conversation is, look, the encyclopedia of pain. Okay, so I completely understand that as a heading for a live stream. Oh, what are you going to talk about, mate? Pain. What sort of pain? I mentioned this last night. There's so many types of pain, but even if you generalised, there we go. I'll tell you what. Let me drop the specificity. Let me drop the athletes getting hurt bit. Let me drop the well, I had this. It's just going to people being in pain, because I think, in my humble opine, that these sort of lash outs, when you see people on, you've only got to just do a little bit of scrolling on your phone to see people on your social media feed, whatever they're using, just, it's like, okay, just, I don't know, there's a lot of pain to witness, a lot of pain to read, a lot of pain to scroll through. People's pain is palpable. You can read a tweet, right? Look, let me give you a case in point. Keith Olbermann. Now, Keith Olbermann, pronounced Olbermann, spelt Olberrrman or MANN single R, whatever. He was, a lengthy career as a broadcaster, announcer. In fact, let me just Google that. Keith Olbermann. Here we go. He had a good career.
According to Wikipedia, Keith Theodore Olbermann is an American sports and political commentator and writer.
There you go. So Keith Olbermann, American political sports commentator and writer. Big career, my eyesight's not great. He's 62. The problem is, right, where he's not as dynamic or as cool or as funny as a Rogan. Yeah, he's not. But he's been going on for his team. It's like when Bill Maher said, I took one for the team, right? Remember that, Bill Maher? I took one for the team, referring to the second shot. Because, of course, now countries aren't considering you diagnosed, aren't considering you vaccinated unless you've had at least 3 shots. So the efficacy of this vaccine is wavering. It's just not, it's just not, don't know, not going. The efficacy it's not lasting, the longevity, it's not going as well as it should or could or as we were promised. So Keith Olbermann went and got his booster shot and then did this tweet thing, screaming, I mean literally like a proper little "Grr," to camera, saying you're scared, referring to everyone, just like real, again, broad strokes. A man with a one-time big audience who's fallen from grace, and of course the likes of Rogan are stomping all over him, without any effort because they're just a bigger platform. But this guy is still trying to be relevant. He's still trying to be the man, and what he's done is to literally latch onto the sort of the likes of just a big base like Rogan. God, I feel tired. It's weird. I'm gonna go because I don't. Sometimes I do these streams and I'm like, man, not feeling too amazing. I don't know. I don't know. Can't win them all, Jazz. Can't win them all. Look, yeah. But just to leave you with this, I can all day long wax lyrical. Just think this through. Just food for thought. Food for thought. I can wax lyrical about, this injury and that injury, and or communicate with some of you and say, oh, you see, you hurt your knee, you're doing tennis, and look at the rehab is, and the directional cutting of change, the changing of. Anyway, people on tennis courts they cut, literally different directions very quickly, and there's a lot of damage to the knee. Anyway, I just, yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. No, I'm done. I'm done. I just want to say, what I want to say. It's more than the specificity of me talking about sports injuries or you know what I mean, that degree of specificity. I almost feel, it's akin to a windscreen wiper going across your windscreen. It's like there's a bigger area of pain to discuss. There's a bigger social commentary to be made about pain. I don't know. They're not all going to be. Yeah, this is not my best. All right, guys, I'm going to get some rest. Big love to you all. I'll be back tomorrow night, episode 4:30. Okay, where I will doubtless just I'll be back tomorrow night. All right, I'm out. See you soon. Thanks for being here. Same time, same face, same place tomorrow. Thank you. And good night to YouTube too. Same time.